Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning. All depends on when you decide to watch us. Over the past week, I've been telling people out there to go to the pet store and get yourself a mouse and a stapler. And we're going to talk about why now. Uh, Today, we're reviewing the 1988 Bill Murray's Christmas classic, Scrooge, which is a retelling of Charles Dickens' The Christmas Carol, which, if you have not read or seen, it's time for you to get underneath that rock and join the rest of the world. Now, if you haven't seen it because you're young, I get that. I do understand your parents haven't tortured you enough. If you're our age and haven't seen it, you have no fucking excuse.
To be honest,
being
the first time I found out about this was through a niche horror YouTube video. So I think I'm in that camp.
Okay, I'm going to say start drowning the youth starting now.
Yes.
Anyways, so today's pick was by Shadow, and I think this was a wonderful pick for a Christmas movie. I would have done Gremlins. We might still do Gremlins. I don't know yet. But for what it was, this was a great pick. Shadow, why don't you lead us off? What made you want to pick this movie?
Well, right off the bat, it's one of the few retellings of. Sorry, I'm not on camera. It's one of the few retellings of this movie that everybody more or less everybody, in modern times can relate to. We all watch TV. We all grew up watching TV. Now, none of us, here grew up to be big TV executives, but we can relate to everything that happens in the movie. On all sides, all the different characters are so much more varied and different. You have them from all walks of life, from the homeless folks to the people at the shelter to working moms with their huge families, trying to make ends meet, all the way up to the, Frank's, family, his brother and his wife. There's some place we all fit in with all these characters. And then you've got the absolute wonderful ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. I don't think they've ever been done better. And then, of course, the end. The end is, we'll get there, but it's, to me, I can't think of a Christmas movie I'd rather watch. Other than that one episode of Twilight Zone, Night of the Meek, but I'm working on it. Still got a week to go.
There's Die Hard.
Look, I still feel good. I still love A Christmas Story. So there's some classic ones but like Shadow has said before, some movies we have watched so often or they're shown so much that you want to do something just a little different. And part of the reason I loved Scrooged was it was kind of a dark take on the whole Christmas Story, because I was so tired of watching A Christmas Story. Like, I don't care. This one was like, you know what? We're going to flip it on its head a bit. I said, all right, that's a lot more fun.
True.
And I don't know if anyone knows my understanding, and this is what Kyle will appreciate. Christmas used to be a time of drunken debauchery and a lot of stuff. And Charles Dickens did not like that. And so he wanted to make it more family friendly.
Well, Christmas here in America was outlawed for a couple of years when America first got settled by the Pilgrims, because of what Christmas was and what Christmas became over the years is completely different.
Yeah. So our family Christmas that we see is a relatively more modern view versus the drunken debauchery that it used to be. And Connell and I are sad ever since.
Okay, first off, neither of you are that old. And Omen, if you could see the way my camera or my screen froze up on you, you're lucky I didn't just snap a picture of that. Just saying.
Good morning, James.
But yes, it was dark, but that was one of the great things about it, Omen. It started out, so modernly dark that when it went to that brightness, that it was all the more contrast, all the more uplifting.
you know what though? Like I said, is I grew up in a really perfect family. Basically, when I looked at it, so I really enjoy the dark sense of humor because it's not my real life. So unlike the Russians, who have a really dark sense of humor because, well, they had to.
It's Russia.
But no, I those are things that I went through. But I'm just saying that people forget sometimes of, you know, what we think of Christmas and what we grew up in is not the time of Charles Dickens when he was going through. And he was probably one of the people that really tried changing it really for the better when you think about it.
Yeah.
So, Mark, what did you think of the movie?
I liked it. It was a nice little dark comedic twist on the classic story. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Got the same message across, but you know, put its own little dark, funny spin on things.
The first opening scene of the movie where we go to Santa Claus's workhouse. I mean, it was so 80s. Oh my God.
I know. And it's a shame the little guy doesn't know who Lee Majors was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to rectify that. But yeah, he was just the absolute epitome of Hollywood action heroes.
Can I? Well, I mean, he did what? He did a show which I was more familiar with than the $6 Million Man, even though I saw the $6 Million Man when it was out. Was the what was that called? It was where he was playing a stuntman. You know.
Fall
anyway,
Guy.
Yeah, Fall Guy. That was it. But here's the thing: when Santa opens up and he has all of the automatic weapons and stuff, and all I went is, Santa, I want that under my tree. I don't need all the other stuff. Just guns galore. I'm happy with. Let's go with that.
Amen, Omen, amen. But I'm already kind of like halfway there. I mean, with you know the legal stuff.
I mean,
but you're in Texas, so you can have stuff I can't have. So I'm a little jealous, but just a little.
Yeah. There was so many great.
He talks about it every day.
There were so many great actors and actresses in this movie. Bill Murray, Karen Allen, who was in Indiana Jones, 2 of the Indiana Jones movies. One of them she should just outrightly said no to, but we'll leave that alone.
Well, the studio should have said no to the whole movie. Let's not blame Karen Allen.
Right.
Bobcat Goldthwait, Carol Kane, Buster Poindexter. I mean, you know,
Robert Mitchum, wasn't it?
The Murray brothers.
I mean, they had a lot of those characters, but I really did enjoy. Well, I still enjoyed the whole thing with the Solid Gold Dancers and whoever the guy was dealing with the mouse. Just stay.
Oh yeah. We tried crazy glue and everything. Have you tried a stapler? What?
That
was funny.
That was hysterical. I mean, you know, that just you know, to make Frank Cross look like, you know, the rattiest of rat bastards. I mean, that scene alone probably solidified him, you know, being far worse than good old Ebenezer Scrooge in everybody's minds, except for the people who actually, you know, don't like animals.
Well, there was that. Then the other one was when he's thrilled that the old lady dies from his.
Right. That is a good point.
Yeah. From
you can't buy publicity like this.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a good scene. I liked that.
But I just love that whole thing with your life may depend on, as they show a nuclear explosion, and then the highway with the gun. And he says, "Well, the blood was a little over the top."
And Bobcat Goldthwait, can we give it up for him? God, do I miss that guy? And this movie showed his absolute range of abilities, because most of the guys here are familiar with the crazy, neurotic Bobcat. But then when we see him acting, as the character that he was playing, and then his slow decline into the Bobcat sort of character, that was phenomenal. Bobcat did not get enough screen time, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree with that. I mean, wait, did he pass?
And I think he just disappeared.
Oh, I think he just kind of fell off the Hollywood railroad track.
Yeah,
But no,
he used that screech and whatever you want to call it, the way he talked, and a lot of people just couldn't tolerate it, and he was a genius in his own right. He probably had some issues.
What has he been doing? What has he been doing of
I
late?
think he does. I think he does stuff, but I think he like directs and does other things now.
When I'm going over his stuff, he is more of a voice actor these days than he is anything else. He's 60 years old, so it's not like he's.
And I'm certain he's not hurting for money, but he really, showed what he could do, unlike, the Police Academy movies and things like that, the few other things that I've seen him in. This was just like, it's hard to believe they're the same guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, he does small parts here and there, but it looks like his main income these days is a voice actor. Which, hey, whatever way puts food on the table. I'm pretty sure we're all going to the same answer. At least most of us will have the same answer to this one. Was there any characters that actually stood out? I'm kind of like taking Bill Murray off the table for this one.
Sure.
Because as much as I like Bill Murray, there were other great characters, just like Shell said with Bobcat. But was there any other, not animals, any other characters that really stuck out?
The Ghost of Christmas Past.
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking. Yeah, okay.
Buster Poindexter.
Was that him, or I can't remember?
That was Buster Poindexter. Yes, it was.
Didn't he had a music?
Yeah, he was a musician prior to and after this.
David Johnson or Johnson.
David Johansen. Yeah, that's what's his name.
Oh, really? It wasn't Buster. I thought it was Buster Poindexter. That's weird.
Oh no. But I like.
Why did I think that?
I like.
Why did I think that? I'm getting old.
Yeah, well, but no, that was the one that is all far as all the characters I really enjoyed the most. Just so.
What about you, Mark?
I liked the analogy they used, or the character that was kind of like the riff on the Marley character, not Bob Marley, but the
Jacob Marley.
Scrooged, Jacob Marley from the original story. The zombie, his like mentor or whatever, that zombie guy. I thought the zombie makeup, and I thought it was really great. I thought it was excellent.
I like that. I really like the scene where he was like tearing his arm apart.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The arm broke.
Yeah. The effects on that I liked.
Yeah.
Impressive.
What was that? He said, "I don't mind you shooting me, Frank, but
easy on the Bacardi.
Be careful." Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that was John Forsythe did partner that was that, and then they said that they were surprised they got Robert Mitchum to play his boss. Small part.
Yep.
Oh, when this movie was coming about, this movie was just pure gold. Even if it didn't, how well or did I don't actually know how well it did in theaters. But this movie was just it was every once in a while a movie will come out that has just a great lineup of actors and great characters in it, where almost everybody in Hollywood want to jump on it. They don't do it as much anymore as they used to. But the budget for this movie was $32 million. They made $100.3 million.
Yeah, I'd almost go as to say this is possibly my favorite Bill Murray movie of all time. I can't think of too many. That he really got to shine full screen, full star credits, not hanging out with other people, not being off to the side a little or sharing everything. This was like his biggest claim to fame, as far as I can remember.
I still prefer Ghostbusters with him, and I know that was more of an ensemble, or that was more
right. That's what I meant. Because he didn't get lead credit. This was all on him, the movie would have succeeded or failed all on his shoulders, so to speak.
But
Yeah, I mean, I give that to him. I liked him in What About Bob?
Yeah, but that's a movie that I could see a lot of people just not enjoying. This one, I see it's got a wider appeal.
Yeah,
At least that once a year, you throw What About Bob on, and not every, you're not going to get the same kind of viewership.
I still love Groundhog's Day with Bill Murray.
yeah, that was the other one I was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
about.
that movie. Yeah, no, I hate when they do that whole repeating time thing. Anytime they did it on like Star Trek, I won't watch it. It's just like when they do one of those clip episodes where it's made up of pieces from the previous season or seasons, and all they have to do is edit it to make the episode with a few little scenes. I absolutely despise when they do that. If a show does that, that's almost enough to get me to never watch it again.
Well,
It's like, really?
I still
You know
love
what I mean?
Groundhog's Day just because of the whole thing of when he has the groundhog and he decides to keep killing himself. So yeah, I understand. I understand where you're coming from because I hate time travel episodes too. But that was one of those
I did a philosophy paper on Groundhog's Day back in college. What about you, Jack? Was there any character other than Bill Murray's that stuck out to you that you really enjoyed?
Oh, and Bill Murray wasn't my favorite character, by the way.
Oh, we're gonna get to you. We're gonna get to you. Just
in case you thought that was my answer.
yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but who do I think stuck out?
Who was other than Bill Murray? Who was the one actor in the movie that stuck out enough for you to remember, like a couple days? Next time you watch it. Oh yeah.
I would say, what was her name? The black lady.
Oh, Alfred Woodland, Grace Cooley.
Well, not the actress' name, the character's name. I can't remember. But
Grace Cooley.
Yes, Grace. Yes. I would say her, and also her and her son as well. Just those
Good
two.
answer.
What?
Good answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those two characters. More than any other.
Very well fit the Tidy Tim kind of feel for the movie.
Yep. It was a great way to respin that, and not go the same old route. You know what I mean? With the crutches and all that.
And I like the kid a lot better than the stupid crutches. I mean, when he actually talks, it actually makes sense. And you find out, well, he hasn't talked since his father died. Well, they say killed, which means he died from a bad incident.
His dad died in front
right.
of him, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Shadow?
God, what was her name? Kim, the leading lady.
Oh, you talking about Karen Allen?
Karen.
Yeah.
It's cross between her and Carol Kane.
Yeah. So Claire Phillips was the character's name. So.
Right. The Ghost of Christmas Present and her, for me, come in tied. She was just, an amazing, leading lady. All the different scenes, from the past all the way into the future. The way, they not just did the makeup, but the lines and the expressions on her face. It was amazing. And then to complete contrast that, you get Carol Kane at her finest, just absolutely just cute as the Dickens, and just as brutal as you could, at the same time, just that, Iron Fist, Velvet Glove, she was just so entertaining.
I'm going to mention little bit parts that I enjoyed, which was, how about I believe it's Bill Murray's father, which was I'm sorry, it's it's his older brother.
That's Brian Doyle Murray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he played what? He played his father, I believe. You know,
He
when
played
the-
father and dropped like
The
8 pounds of veal. I'm like, you know how much that is worth in today's market?
Well,
Yeah.
We can't even find veal in our city. It's just not. It's not.
I
There's
can get veal.
doesn't exist.
Once again, you live out in the desert. I can get
I
veal
mean, they
here
make
if I
a
want.
comment about that in the movie.
yeah. Well, and also, I'll be honest about
No, I mean
this.
we just don't have butcher shops. I
Even
get it. You're not going to find it at your local grocery store. You got to go to a butcher shop.
even my butcher can't get me duck. Whatever's going on, I can't get duck this year. Normally,
I got 3 sitting in my freezer.
I normally get a case of duck breast.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I get the whole damn bird. But I go to the Asian market.
Okay. Well, I'm
Well,
just
could
saying
be
for
tempting.
here, they couldn't find it normally where I get
That's weird.
that. So I enjoyed him doing the little father bit. And then let's be honest, when he's in the homeless shelter, and we all remember the lady that was next to Bill Murray, and then
Yeah.
the guy who was frozen to death. Those
Oh
two
yeah.
I love as well. And she
Well,
did
even
all,
the other old guy. They're all relatively seasoned and well worked actors. I forget the old guy's name, and he's actually kind of a big deal, or was kind of a big deal.
as the well, a lot of them are character actors, which is, and I have to be
Right,
honest,
I forget his
love
name, but
character actors.
not the guy who froze to death, but the other one.
Yeah.
I've seen him in countless things, and sometimes bigger parts.
I
what I meant.
recognized him. I just couldn't remember his freaking name or anything. I was like, I've seen that guy. I've seen all the actors in this movie for the most part. I've seen in other stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
and Anne Ramsey, she was just because the way she looked. Whether you remember her from the Goonies or what was the other one that they had? Throw Mama from the Train.
Oh God!
Oh, was that her?
Yeah, that was her.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
So
I had to actually, my favorite character out of this was Carol Kane. Just her interaction with Frank was just utterly hilarious compared to all the other 2 ghosts. Well, Death wasn't all that funny, but
But it was done well. That was the best. That was the best one I've ever seen.
But when she smacks him across the face with that toaster,
yeah, then he finds Herman in the frozen underneath. Yeah.
And can we talk about the makeup on that guy, Herman? That way, he had to sit there stock still, and not blink with all that crap on his face and just hold that expression the whole bit. That was phenomenal.
there was that line where she said, "Close your eyes and think of snowflakes and moonbeams and whiskers." And I'm watching and I'm like, "Oh, here it comes." But yeah, no, that she was. I like the zombie boss. I liked all. There's not any of these characters I didn't like per se.
Exactly. They literally didn't drop a single ball on this. Everything was, picture perfect.
Okay, so what about scenes? Because there were several great scenes in this movie. It being with Frank or without Frank, there were scenes in this movie that were classic. I mean, just classic. Is there one
come on.
scene or the other?
The part in we're talking about scenes, and I understand this, but the whole thing when he's up there where they're talking about, well, you can see her nipples, and he's like, well, from that till the
Charles
point,
Dickens would want to see her nipples.
yeah, well, right up
Yeah,
until the
we're
point-
going to
right-
embarrass Jackie here, but sorry.
No, right up until the point where he's still in the same set doing that. Right up until the point of where talking about stapling the antlers to the mouse. I mean because that's all part of the same grouping for that. So yeah, I that's the part that I enjoy.
All right. What about you, Mark?
Scene in the movie that really stuck out to me is whole interaction he had with the real ghost of Christmas Future when he got a good look at his face in that mask. I thought that was pretty horrific and effective.
Did we do that?
Like I
Yeah,
said,
no, yeah.
that's the greatest Grim Reaper I've ever seen. The TV screen for the face, to the, like you said, the opening of the robes, that was just pure genius.
Yeah, I was looking on the wiki for this real quick. This movie was nominated for Academy Award for Best Makeup, and it lost. You know what it lost to? It lost to Beetlejuice.
Well,
so
Okay.
I can see that. I can see that.
I could see that. Yeah, but I'm saying that's pretty impressive. That if they're
I was
going
gonna say Beetlejuice
Beetlejuice
wise was on cue.
Yeah.
What about you, Jack?
Scenes?
Yeah, what scene did you enjoy the most?
I mean, probably the ending scene. But
Yeah,
Oh, geez.
that's my boy.
All right. What about you, Shadow?
Ditto, like father, like son. When Bill Murray does the speech, that's it. That's what it's all about. The realization and the imploring of everybody out there to do the same. That's that you can't end a Christmas movie like this without that, and the literal tears coming down his face, the whole bit, the eyes watering, you can even see his eyes turning red from it. Just the whole thing, and of course all of the people, reacting to him, from his brothers, for the family and friends, tripping out over the fact that he somehow knew what question he got wrong, to all the people all over, his boss, going from, you're fired to, oh my God, this is genius. Oh my God, he's right. That whole, like 7-minute segment is just pure magic. And of course, feed me, Seymour, feed me. That just took me to a whole nother place.
I think my favorite scene is when Bobcat busts in with that shotgun.
The singing,
that is the greatest.
I mean, he just took Frank to task. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of great scenes. Yeah, Shadow, you're right with the ending and that whole stop watching TV on Christmas Eve and go spend time with your family. That's a great scene. I kind of dug the when he kissed one of the Golden Girls. Under the mistletoe.
Yeah,
that was a good kiss. That wasn't the best kiss. The best kiss was by ... I thought that was brilliant. But no, it was the whole coming to Jesus that Bobcat was giving Frank right before, he had the whole, this is what my life is, montage of what my future is going to look like. That was my absolutely favorite when Bobcat's like, here, rabbit, 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 boom. And I'm just giggling.
Well, as he shot.
Yeah, the whole Elmer Fudd thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but with the awards where he shoots the awards and Bill Smith's like, which is funny because he acts like those meant something, but he left the award in the taxi cab after he received it.
Oh,
so funny.
He clinks.
You know what that reminded me of when he did that? That reminded me of the same scene in Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Iron Man?
Hey, look, I guess something else to hold the door open with.
Right.
I
can't help but think they were, maybe a little inspired by this movie when they did that.
I mean,
or at least they had to have someone said, "Oh, you got to see the parallel," to that.
As far as I know, in the whole Iron Man movie was Robert Downey Jr. was somewhat on a leash, but not on a leash. He did a lot of just random things that's like, oh, that was a great idea. We're keeping that in the movie. So I don't know. You know,
I'm going to say this much, and maybe I've watched this movie a bit too many times. I really don't care for the happy ending. I actually like really dark endings. But again, I came from a picture perfect family, so it's not like I'm trying to recapture that. I'm like, oh, my life's great, you know. But you know, sometimes I always feel like at the end of these feel good movies, they always drag, and it doesn't have enough humor in it.
Well, that's
I know. That's what a lot of people want. I want the Blackadder Christmas Carol. There's Connell.
You need help, man. You need help.
you definitely do.
Have you seen it, Jack? he
I've
decided.
No, he hasn't. No, it's just that this is the one movie that gets a free pass.
Yeah.
You know, there are some great movies with those kind of endings that I'm rather fond of myself. But with this one, you know, especially this time of year, and especially, you know, what we've all gone through planet-wide over the last 2-3 years, you know, I hope as many people as possible will watch this movie and think about it going into 2023, especially the people at the freaking top. You hear me? You hear me, FBI? You hear me, CIA? Freaking asshole.
Now,
you don't have to tell them.
I know. Sorry, guys. Sorry. They've been watching me for years.
This is going to be an odd question.
I think you're the only one they don't want to watch. They've seen too much of your nonsense.
Now,
Fair.
I'm going to go a little bit on the other side of that question. Was there any scene? I know this is going to be a hard question to answer because I really don't have a great answer myself. Well, that's not true. Is there any scene in the show that I could have done without that?
Do I even have to state my answer?
Go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, Jack, if you got an answer.
You already know my answer.
No, you haven't.
Movie?
What is it?
Oh, okay. It could be that one, too. The nipple.
Just combine them all. Just combine them all. That's my answer.
Oh, that's
Such a prude.
Yes, I am. I know.
That's fine.
He'll get there one of these days.
I hope not. Yeah, I do really hope not.
You know, Jack. You know what's great about this channel?
Oh no!
Is someday, you know, you're gonna go get, you know, you're gonna walk your lady down the aisle, and right before that, I'm gonna show her this clip.
He doesn't want to see no nipples. No nipples. Yep. Anyways, what about you, Mark? Was there any scene in this that any parts of this movie that you're like, I get done without?
No, it all worked. I can't think of anything that was blaring obvious that needed to be cut from it. But you know, there are some things that are, you know, it's a product of its time. You know, late '80s, whatever business. So if people have a hang up with that, some of that might not translate over. Or if they weren't of that era, there may be some things that got lost in translation. But I can't think of anything that really needs to be that's blatantly obvious that needed to be cut from it.
By my understanding, there was a lot of stuff they cut out of it, but I hate saying this. If every scene has its own criticality, and to cut it would make the movie less than what it is. I mean,
that's fair. That's fair. I just, like I said, it's not so much as a weird question. It's just it's a hard question. I have an answer, but I'll wait for everybody else. What about you, Shadow?
The only scene, and mind you, I would not cut this scene, but I have a hard time watching, is when the mom is visiting her son in the institution. That's just brutal. That I can't even imagine, you know, what that would be like. Not just from her standpoint, but from the kid's standpoint. You know, going your whole life unable to speak, and because of that, you're here. You know what I mean? In a room where there's nothing but just waiting to die in a nice soft padded cell for no other reason than society has gotten to the point where you're invalid, therefore you just need to hurry up and die, and we're not even going to help you out. We're just going to kind of prolong it just so that you can suffer more because unless he did some act of violence or something because he couldn't speak, but that's neither here nor there. That scene for me is brutal. Even the look on the kid's eye, that kid actor who played the older version of the boy, where he's looking at Frank through the window. No, you could just see this is your fault, on his face, or at least I could.
All right.
But I wouldn't cut. I wouldn't cut the scene. I'll just walk out next time. You'll have a cigarette or something.
I'll fast forward 30 seconds until I'm past it.
Yeah.
What about you, Omen?
Well, I thought that I said mine, but
Oh, did you?
Well, yeah. Well, I said there's nothing in there that I think that you can cut.
Oh, right.
Because,
I'm sorry.
I'll be honest. I don't like the whole speech at the end, but if you cut it, then the movie feels incomplete, and that's just because, again, I like really dark comedies for this. So there's certain aspects for it that I go, no, you can't cut it. That's one of the things that. I think that
I suggest we get we all chip in, and for Christmas we get Omen a ticket to the game.
The what game?
The game.
Yeah.
No, I'm
yes, that one.
I've lost the game.
The movie, The Game.
The movie, The Game.
I never saw that movie though. I've heard about. No.
Oh wow! I haven't thought about that movie in years. Jesus. Anyways,
but no.
Michael Douglas and Sean Penn.
I'm familiar with it.
Good movie. Just haven't thought about forever.
Oh, is that a riff on the old short story, The Most Dangerous Game, or something?
Not exactly. I mean, a little bit maybe, but not so much. You're gonna die. It's just that you're gonna wish you were dead.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not even that. It's just a mind, just a mind bleep.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of things when you start looking at Christmas. Again, like I said, I try to find the darkest stuff for Christmas because it makes me laugh. Because it's like I said, I don't have any of the things where I'm looking for something uplifting for Christmas because my parents are great. My son's a little mouthy, but that's usual for kids. Which I still wouldn't trade him for anything. And so yeah, but no, I mean the whole thing is that I don't like it when it gets overly sappy and long, and because it seems like the jokes kind of stop at the end, and that's what I get. When I'm watching a comedy, I want to laugh throughout the whole thing, and usually when they start getting kind of sappy at the end, I'm going, yeah, okay, fine, I know what you're feeling, but I want more of this. I will say this much, not that it needs to be removed, but another little scene I did enjoy is, let's not forget about the censor when she looks at the guy who's tied up under the mistletoe, and his eyes like, oh no.
And even he was a great, he played that part so well. You know how many things that guy's been in? How many bad guys that guy's played? I mean, really bad guys, from Heroes to the Batman movie. I mean, that guy has played some pretty dark characters.
You're talking about John Glover,
right? I think so. The
ass kisser from LA.
Actually,
what?
The one thing that I think that I could have gotten rid of if we're going to talk about the scene, because I think it went a little too long, is when he's freaking out over waiting for the ghost.
In the restaurant.
Yeah. That I thought.
Yeah, that should have got his ass fired.
I mean, when he's going over, he's throwing water. That just to me wasn't funny. I would rather, to me,
that's kind of the scene I was thinking about. I was like, I didn't care for right when the Ghost of Christmas Present drops him off to go see the corpse sickle. I didn't care for that much.
Yeah, that was pretty sad.
But I get that. I mean, I'm a little bit more forgiving to that scene than the restaurant scene. It was just like
Mhm.
you're trying to
because
add
he
more
said it himself.
chuckles.
I guess I should have given you the $2. I mean, if you live in a place that's like that kind of cold, and all it takes is $2 to keep a guy alive, you know what I mean? It's just when you think about that, it's just like, I mean, I know it's not like that anymore because they don't do that anymore.
Hey, Shadow,
But
I'm going to say this much: is I had a friend that did that in Chicago, and she had a couple because she used to work with homeless. And
oh, really?
froze to death in Chicago, and she said,
Yeah,
air. That's now I know this is New York, but that's kind of the but
Chicago is nothing to joke around with when it comes.
no,
to
no, no. I mean, anywhere that's cold, and you walk by somebody like that, and if they were to say, save my spot, I'm like, here, have 5, dude. Here, get in there. That's. But I live in California, and it's not like that, and every one of them is a scam artist. I can't tell you how many times I've seen homeless people when no one's looking get into their car and look for another corner.
But I thought the corpsicle scene, with Herman, I thought that was very important for his arc of changing who he was going to be. I mean, without that, because it like I could have do so little and make a big difference, at least for a couple people's lives. I thought that was important for that. But the whole waiter scene, I went. No.
Yeah, I mean
that is. I think universally that was just a little bit too drawn out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would need to be cut to about half the length, just enough where you
the whole thing with the a homeless guy dying, though. I mean, they did it again in Groundhog's Day, and that was about 10 minutes of the film of him just trying everything he could to keep the old man alive. And it just, I don't know. I mean, seeing the guy in the sewer like that, yeah. It was definitely character building aggression for the Frank. I will not argue that one. The whole restaurant, they were going for cheap laughs, and I just don't think it was needed in this movie.
Yeah, I didn't even find it funny. I just kind of
it was kind of forced. It was supposed to be what's that kind of humor called when they're doing all the little slapstick? It was supposed to be some type of slapstick humor, and I like it in some case, but I like it at times, but especially when I think of movies like Airplane and stuff like that. But in this case, it was that whole scene. It did seem a bit forced. That was a good call on one that could be cut. Yeah,
and the slapstick part, I was okay with it for the Ghost of Christmas Present.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a time and place for it, but yeah, that one just felt too forced. And
I think fun. they were trying to achieve something there, and just it fell flat. That whole fell flat there.
There was a lot of slapstick in this movie. I mean that the scene assistant or the lady with the clipboard. I mean, she gets beamed by a tree, knocked unconscious by light poles. Mm-hmm. I mean. She gets to make out with the ass hat from LA at the end of the movie. I mean, so she kind of got hers, but there was a lot of, she was the brunt of a lot of the slap humor jokes while he was on stage, which was fine. I thought they were all funny,
Mm-hmm. Again, I don't mind slapstick, but there's an appropriate time and place for it. And
well, let's when you're talking about slapstick, though, Bill did all his own freaking stunts. You know what I mean? He I guess he learned that at least from Chevy Chase. Because some of those falls look painful. Even in the restaurant when he fell at the very end, that looks painful.
Well, let's not forget, and apparently this actually happened where he elbowed his assistant. He actually hit her in an accident. He actually elbowed her for real.
Somebody going bowling?
No, that's Jackie's pencil sharpener.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I remember other movies from the 80s kind of having some of the same feel. There was that John Ritter movie. I'm pronouncing his name wrong. I know I am. The guy from Three's Company.
That's John Ritter.
John Ritter. Yeah. Yeah, he was actually a friend of the family.
What one? Oh yeah.
John Ritter was actually a friend of my dad's.
Oh wow,
Where
cool.
him and his wife got sucked into the TV, into the cable box.
Yeah, but I mean but that was years later. I mean, I remember
It kind of just this movie. There's definitely 80s. Well, I guess I'm trying to say is the 80s had a theme when it came to its movies, and for us, most of everyone but Jack, for the most part, who remember watching 80s movies when they first came out, then rewatching Scrooge. To me, there was a lot of 80s nostalgia, but good 80s nostalgia, like the opening scene with Santa Claus.
Well, look, Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I could replace it with anyone nowadays. I still love Santa with guns. That's just the way I am. I don't care. You could replace Lee Majors with what is it, Chris Pratt, and I would be just as happy.
I was actually surprised it wasn't not Sylvester Stallone.
Tom
Steven
Selleck.
Seagal.
I was thinking Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck would have been awesome too. Have him show up in like a Hawaiian shirt, but a winter jacket as Magnum PI. But whatever. But I just this.
Okay, so modern day, could you imagine Jason Statham as instead with Santa?
That would have been a whole different movie, man. A whole different movie.
Could this movie? I mean, yes. Could it be redone for a modern twist to it? Yes. Should it?
There's nobody who could do Bill Murray's part. Nobody.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I can't think of anybody who's not a raging lefty freaking who'd hate being on the movie, who's funny enough and well-loved enough to play that part.
You know what? I think Bill Burr could probably play it off. But
maybe.
But to be honest,
maybe. I could see that maybe.
I hate seeing remakes. Why in the world, if you have a great one, don't remake it unless you can do something completely different. That's the problem that I have with it. It's like, I don't mind Scrooged, which is a remake of some other movies for that, because it's a completely different twist. But don't remake the same movie with the same stuff where I'm going, why can't I just watch the original? It's
right. But I think the Christmas Carol should be remade every couple generations just to keep it alive.
Yeah, I could buy that. I saw one a while back on Pluto, actually, that was really good. I can't remember much about it, but yeah, that's hold on.
I'm going to ask a question here. While we talk about this, I don't know about you all, but I remember, I didn't go see this in the movie theater. I saw it on television, and so really the real thing for me was, why aren't they playing it over on TV and things like they used to? Like A Christmas Story gets played on TNT. It seems like every year. I saw A Christmas Story when I came back from Germany in 1983 on the airplane. I mean, and yet they still play it, 30, 40 years later?
Right.
Nonstop for 24 hours. I wish that they would do, and I don't, and we do have Amazon, to be fair. I think that's where,
the same reason you won't see a Charlie Brown Christmas.
I've seen Charlie Brown Christmas on TV this year already. And I've seen Scrooge on TV. Yeah.
And to be honest, I have it right here if I want to watch it on Apple Plus. But I'll be honest, I don't really care for Charlie Brown. I never did.
Right.
So it's the same effect. I would rather watch. But my point is that it's available to everyone to go watch this. So, I don't think remaking it. If you're going to remake it, then remake it with a whole new twist.
I just do the internet. I have a more internet base, I can see.
It wouldn't fly today because of cable, because of the internet and things like that. You really couldn't do. You'd have to do a ground up reworking of it, and you literally have to have someone like Jeff Bezos be in Scrooge. Someone that everybody knows.
Don't encourage it. Don't encourage that.
I would love to see that.
I don't look at Jeff Bezos. I would rather watch Elon Musk, the way that he's been going.
Right, but he's already, kind of already, seen the light, maybe, hopefully.
He's seen something.
Well,
it
if
might
you
be
look
the business end of a needle before everything is said and done, but he's seen something.
well, the thing is, if you're going to do it, is to me, if it's one of those like, okay, you have to find people. And you're going to pick some billionaire. It doesn't matter which billionaire. To me, the perfect one would be. We're really going to look at it. Is you're going to have George Soros as the mentor that's
Oh my God, dude! You just got yourself elevated on that list, buddy.
and you have to have someone like but I'm going. But the perfect one is the mentor.
You just mentioned like his favorite celebrity.
Yeah, and then who else would it?
Oh my God!
Well, you can imagine it, and it's actually, you know what we need to do, and I'm not trying to say this is bad, and I know you may not like him, but to me, if you're really going to do this, you have to have maybe George Soros as the evil guy and Justin Trudeau as the one that needs to learn the right way.
I would have. Oh God. Okay. I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud.
Sure.
I would have Trump be the boss.
Okay.
This is going somewhere. I don't know where, but it's going somewhere.
I would have modern actors. I would have. Oh God, I can't think of his name.
What does he star in? I can usually pick it out from there.
Okay, the guy who played Frank or a variation of Frank needs to be British.
Frank what? Because all I can think is Frank Castle.
No, House.
Oh. Yeah, but you want to do that? Go watch a Blackadder Christmas Carol.
Right, but I need to Americanize it. No,
don't Americanize it. Good God, that makes it even worse.
Americanizing things only makes them objectively worse.
Yes, that's if anyone ever saw Cracker and saw the travesty that was Robbie Coltrane as Cracker, that was the fantastic series, and then you watch when they tried doing the American version. I want to slap.
Oh yeah, I agree.
The one thing that this might not apply to is like The Office or something.
Well, The Office, I saw the British version, and I'm just I did.
I think one of the few times I think the American version of Office was a whole lot funnier than the British version of it.
Being intelligent of the devil. Okay, sorry.
But no, I don't know. A remake of this film right now, probably not. It probably wouldn't do well. But once again, going back to what I'm saying, that stories like these need to be retold every so often. I don't care in what medium. Hell, make the movie about some poor schmuck that works at a high school that's trying to direct this as a play, and everything is to go sideways.
Well, you know what, though, is don't they do that sometimes with like they do this with the cartoons, which apparently you can get away with a lot more for the cartoons than anything else. Could you imagine Rick and Morty with Rick's past coming back to haunt him? Anyway, see, I can.
The dog disapproved.
I disapprove.
I love Rick and Morty, but even then, I'm going.
I mean, I'm a big Rick and Morty fan myself.
Nope.
Mark, how can you imagine a retelling of this?
I'm not sure. I don't know what you could do to make it better, really, but
I don't think you can make it better. Yeah. Is what I'm really trying to say.
I don't think so.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, this was such pure genius, and except for the one scene,
Ted Danson being the boss.
Did you ever see that one where he was doing the what was that? There was a show where he was basically doing that, where he was torturing everyone in hell by making them think they were in heaven.
No, but I have to look into it because I loved him in Cheers.
It was cute, but it's the best way I want to phrase it.
Let's see. We talked about actors. We talked about scenes. We talked about scenes we want taken out. Everybody is more or less agreement. A reboot of this movie. Give it at least another 10, 15 more years before going down that route.
Yeah, not in my lifetime. I don't need to see it. And I don't need to, go on a rant why this is a pointless endeavor. The movie's pure gold, and it's a shame we don't get more movies like this. Not necessarily a Christmas movie, but to just the '80s had so many iconic everything's compared to so many decades after that they can learn a lot by just spending a couple of weeks going over the things that made the '80s great and bring them back. Starting with Parachute Pants. I'll die on that hill.
What though? Okay. What gets me about this whole thing is, and I hate saying this, is they're so worried about sensibilities, which is really Hollywood sensibilities. It's not sensibilities of other people. And I mean,
yeah, it's definitely not American sensibilities.
And Scrooge really would upset normal people's sensibility. But I mean,
don't be calling them normal people. If you're upset by this movie, you
are
need.
Normal, and they are.
I mean, if just the beginning half of it is so dark, and I'm saying normal people generally, it's not that it came out. We're all laughing at it because we enjoy the whole dark aspect. Not everyone does, and I've noticed, and this sounds weird, the worst of people, a lot of people's, not everyone, but a lot of women I've noticed, the worse their life is, the more that they want the picture perfect things, and some people want that. They don't want anything bad, but I'm just, there's something on Apple here, which I forgot what it's called, where they're trying to do kind of a twist of it, where it's a musical, and I'm just going, it's not original. You have to make something, even if people know the story, you have to make it engaging and different enough that people want to watch it again. Otherwise, they'll just go back and watch the old one.
There's a Michael.
Which I highly recommend. Go watch this movie. If you haven't watched it this year, make sure you do it before the end of the year. Yeah.
Can I mention one more holiday movie that
I
also
prefer
love?
this movie over Chevy Chase's National Lampoon's Family Vacation.
My favorite movies of this time are, I still love A Nightmare Before Christmas and A Christmas Story, just because I love the whole thing with A Christmas Story. But the other one I enjoy that's a holiday movie, I think it's Thanksgiving instead, is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
It's Thanksgiving, but with
I think it's Thanksgiving.
John Candy and
Steve Martin.
Martin, yeah.
I mean, that one is hilarious. I just love watching that, especially with the whole, where he gets his arm caught and he looks over and he's the devil, catches on fire. Yeah, it's just, but you never feel like there was maliciousness on the part of John Candy, even though he's the cause of all the problems. And I think that sometimes what I want is, I don't want maliciousness, which seems to be all too common, and then it gets too preachy, and then the characters don't have any arc on them. Either they're perfect or they're all bad, but they don't have any arc, having both sides and trying to balance it out. And I think that's the problem that's why I hate remakes for a lot of this. If you remake it into something unique and original, or, take the basic template which is what I think they did with Scrooge. Because I remember seeing Charles Dickens and I got, I hate this. And then Scrooge came along and oh yes, I enjoy it because they're not this, picture perfect.
Well, I know who's getting a Christmas card next Christmas.
We were talking about that. Well,
he's brought up two different Bob and Jay and Silent Bob Christmas movie, which would be awesome. And now this one, I know who's getting a Christmas card next year.
Yeah, Kevin Smith sold himself out up to the point that I wouldn't trust that man with anything. He is. Yeah, he's so intellectually bankrupt nowadays. I mean, he used to actually do stuff, and I watched his newer stuff. I'm just like, dude, everything that you did, you sold out to Hollywood, and now you have no original ideas of your own.
And those of you guys who know me, once somebody does that, I can't even appreciate their older works. I just can't do it anymore. I can't do it.
And this goes with most things, music, movies, authors, and everything else. Eventually, people sell out. It's a known truth. People eventually sell out.
James Woods didn't, and then he doesn't work anymore because he didn't sell out.
Right.
Where's
James Wood? I'd rather watch anything James Wood did than anything Kevin Smith is involved or
James
involved
Wood
with.
is James Wood is playing Frank Bill Murray's role.
You know what? I think if he was younger, I would.
I approve that message.
If he was younger, I would approve that. I absolutely would. But
no, he's the right age. Scrooge is not supposed to be some young guy. He's supposed to be up there in the age.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, because he does have the white hair now. That would be amazing, but it would have been more amazing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, at least now.
But that would be wow. That would be incredible.
Yeah. Well, James Wood has that personality that would work really well with it. I agree with that. Oh, great! You know, we're all picking up. You know, if you're going to redo this Hollywood, which of course they're not, they're going to probably put some female in there, and then they're going to show why she was wrong.
God.
Yeah, come on, you know. That.
Honestly, if they did do that, I want the black actress that they had in Scrooge.
Yeah. I could understand that, but
no, because they just get Oprah.
Oprah Scrooge.
Oh man, could you imagine the Oprah being the one that went to hell and has to tell her, to change her?
I pray for it every morning and every night.
A TV show version of this. Oh my goodness!
And you get a car, and you get a car, and you get to freeze to death, and you get to freeze to death, and you get to freeze to death. Sorry.
Or you get an hour in the closet with John of God.
Oh no!
Yeesh. All right. As much as I love the show going off the track like it normally does, I often do feel sorry for Mark because Mark doesn't normally jump into our stupidity.
Yeah.
He's a straight man in all.
He really is. Anytime you want to jump in, Mark, we will be all ears. Now, since we are talking about Christmas movies, I could wait another lifetime before ever having to watch or even think about them redoing Miracle on 34th Street.
I remember seeing that one, and then what's the other one that comes out there with where he jumps off?
Wonderful Life.
Wonderful Life.
Makes me want to jump off a bridge.
I would rather watch The Miracle on 34th Street. To be honest, I liked that one better. But be honest, as much as I say I'm jaded and I don't like the Charlie Brown Christmas, I still love the little claymation things that they had for all of the stuff that came throughout this time of the year. I'm like, where are those? Even when I was watching
Hallmark Channel.
Well, okay, but I meant they used to have it every time on the big stations, and now they don't. And now the big stations are kind of soulless, is the best way to put it.
No, they've always been kind of soulless.
Yeah, but they had the veneer.
Look at Fox and what they did to Firefly.
Well, that is what happens when you sell your soul to Satan.
Yeah. Well, and Connell, if you ever watch that episode where they start talking about all the shows that have to get canceled before Family Guy comes back, there are some great ones, and Firefly's in that list.
Yeah.
I've
seen that.
Family, I have bad news. We've been canceled. Like, oh no, it's like, well, can we come back? He says, well, only, and he lists off like 34 shows that have to get canceled, and those all did get canceled before they came back, which I thought was hilarious. There was that one. There was Titus. I really loved Titus, which was a really dark.
I can't stand that guy.
Yeah, I know. It's
he used to be hysterical. Then he started opening his mouth without telling jokes, and he can die in a fire.
Well, and that's the problem, I think, with too many of these people. Is like, stop being political. I know that you are, especially when you're insulated with all these people, and they're like, stop it. Just be a decent human being. I don't need to hear, it's narcissistic. Well, to be fair, they're all narcissistic. But
that's why they go into show business.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and then the decent ones seem to get run out and kicked out of the industry. See, like what's going on there?
Is there
Well, yeah,
anything-
because they know they can't trust those people to keep their mouths shut when they see them doing the things that they should be, in jail for.
Yeah.
Going back to the movie as much as we can. Is there anything else that anybody wants to add to it? Because I think I hit basically all the big notes. I mean, this movie very much stands up for itself.
It's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see it.
Yeah, it's good to watch it. Good to watch it Christmas time. Fun spin on the classic story, and especially if you like dark comedies, this is that, definitely. So yeah, I think it hits all three of those.
And the only darker comedy you'll find for this is Blackadder's Christmas Special. That's for the Charles Dickens. But yes, but of course Blackadder was a terrible person. So we all laughed whenever he got screwed over. So that's but yeah.
I don't know. It's just out of the three ghosts. I can't imagine them casting. Maybe Dan Aykroyd as the ghost from the past, the Christmas past.
No, I think you have to get someone that's kind of over the top. I heard they originally wanted Sam Kinison for that.
Oh God!
No,
That would have been.
And they said Sam Kinison wanted it, but Bill Murray liked the other guy more. Which, to be honest, I think he did a great job too. But speaking of which, if anyone remembers. Whether people realize or not, because sometimes we say, well, they just copy it. Well, we've all watched so much stuff. Sometimes things seep into our brain without knowing where they came from. Remember the scene in Azkaban with the the third Harry Potter with the bus driver?
Yeah.
That was the exact same character, effectively. I know he looked different, but it's the same character as the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Oh my God, you're right. I don't know. It's like, as much as I like Bobcat, Sam Kinison could have played that role too, and it would have been great.
No.
He was, what he did before he became a comedian, right?
Bobcat was the guy with glasses.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I can't picture him doing that part. I would picture someone more like.
The only reason why I say that was Sam Kinison, before he got into comedy, he was a minister. Yeah, he was a minister.
Right.
So I can see him.
But see, you're missing the magic of what Bobcat did. His playing the mild mannered, nice guy who, you know what I mean, sort of weak and timid and going from that to the full on psycho, who just had the worst day. I mean,
here's the problem with Sam Kinison. Sam Kinison didn't know really when to turn it off. Bob turned it way down.
They kind of did a variation of "It's a Wonderful Life" on the Married with Children of Sam Kinison.
Well, that's true, but I had to laugh about, and I enjoyed that one. I mean, I enjoyed the Married with Children one, where
because you have to find someone who can seriously turn it down. I mean, most people would if you said that was Bobcat Goldthwait, they'd be like, huh? And then when they see him for the first time, they'd be just like, oh my God, why didn't he play, why didn't he act more? Why didn't he do things more? Well, because he was Bobcat Goldthwait, and, he did have a hard time turning that down, that the way he was during, his stand-up stuff. I don't know if that was all an act or not, but, I saw his very first appearance on like Johnny Carson or something like that a while back, and it's amazing he got famous with that shtick, and then he did this, and I'm like, dude, run with it. And then, he kind of fell off.
I mean, the last thing I remember him doing was was it Unhappily After, which was a it was a takeoff of the of what they did with Married with Children, where he played the sock puppet. But
Oh
Right.
God, there was a movie where he played a sock puppet too. They had not Dennis Quaid but Randy Quaid in it.
oh, speaking of which, he would be really great to play Scrooge. Mel Gibson.
I'm trying to get over, how he is now versus years ago. Because everybody would just see it coming. You know what I mean?
No, well, I mean,
The
he can play a really good villain when he wants to because he can ham it up. It's the whole thing.
I don't know about Scrooge, but I would love to see him as one of the ghosts.
Yeah. Well, which one would he be?
I don't want to see him in a dress.
What?
Goes to Christmas present.
Well, that doesn't have to be a woman. We can.
Yeah, but after seeing this, how can you top her performance? That was just
You're not trying to top. You're trying to make things different. You have to say on who would do things differently.
yeah.
You have to. That's why I say you have to subvert expectations, but you also have to know where to meet them. And I think that's the problem they have nowadays.
He's
good God,
either-
O.J. Simpson. Well, he isn't out of jail yet. Well, you know what? Well, he robbed that one guy in the casino. So,
Well, he was trying to get his jersey back.
Hey, James, I didn't know you were in the chat, man.
yeah,
He's been
James
here
been
the entire time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, Connell's not doing his thing.
I've done some of my thing.
I'm trying to think of let's see.
Here.
Okay.
Here's a good one.
Yeah, I was looking at that one as you lit it up. That's weird. Because I'm on the other page now. Yeah, there is but one Bobcat.
Oh, could you imagine kids in the hall trying to do this one?
No, because Scott Thompson would try to play the Ghost of Christmas Present, and he would wear the dress. he would insist on it.
No. Kurt Russell being Scrooge.
No.
Oh, I could see it if they were doing like a Dickens version, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't picture him.
Oh, multi-gun
Like
man. That's fine. I don't mind humor like that, especially around the holidays.
I really like a dark sense of humor because this time of the year, here's the funny thing. I don't like people telling me how to feel during a certain time of the year. And so this is my natural knee-jerk reaction of, look, it's okay for me to be depressed and everything. All right. Just leave me the hell alone. This is the way I want to be this time of the year. And then I'll be happy when the rest of you all are miserable.
And this is why we're friends.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't really look at it as a telling of people. I look at more of a reminder.
Sure.
There's 365 days of the year, and we're forced to be nice for 25 of them.
Yeah, but I try being nice for the 360.
I said not trying. I said force.
Well, you know what? We can talk about Peter Pan another day.
Wait a minute, Connell. What days were those? Because I must have missed them.
The beginning of December until the Christmas Day.
He's saying something else.
I don't know. It was like I almost had a Bill Murray moment when I was walking into Walmart and I had one of those Salvation Army bastards ring that damn bell in my face. I want to staple it to his fucking forehead. I don't know. I just Christmas is fun. I love. I'm a typical dad. I love seeing my children have a smile on their face when it comes to Christmas. I like sitting around the table with some of my family, not all my family. They can go jump off a bridge with Dan and doing the Christmas stuff. There's aspects of Christmas I really, really do enjoy. All these Hallmark Life is Great Christmas movies just want to gives my soul cavities.
I'm going to ask you: am I the only person that actually loves all of my family?
I think Mark likes most of all his family. He looks like a family man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm talking about my aunts, my uncles. I can't think of a single one I don't like.
Mine passed away a long time ago. So.
And him and family is interesting. And
he adopted me as a younger brother, so no offense, but his family's got to be kind of screwed if he wants me in it.
Yeah.
Hey.
You have a difficult quality.
Yeah.
That's what he sees. He sees what you could be versus the man you are.
Hey, I like the man I am. I just flew into Chicago and boy, my arm's tired.
Yeah. Oh, you want to know something that I really do like that's kind of a really good feel-good film that has nothing to do with Christmas is Oh God.
Oh, with John Denver?
And Burns, George
Burns. George Burns is my hero.
As God? Yeah, I love it. I mean, I saw it years ago and I went, this is a lot better than I remember.
George Burns, I don't know when he started smoking cigars. I don't actually know the date, but George Burns was on record for saying, I smoke at least 2 cigars every day of my life. He lived to be 101. I'm like, I don't want to live that long, but smoking 2 cigars a day for that long doesn't want to be too bad.
So but that's a film I really did like, which was kind of the 70s had a lot of feel good films in there.
Yeah, I'll give you that. What was that?
That nowadays they want to deconstruct and destroy everything that's out there, and then they replace it with something inferior. I went, why? You're not.
Remember in the 80s, especially when Christmas fell on a Saturday morning cartoons went from the normal, whatever cartoons you're getting to more Christmas oriented. And I enjoyed the hell out of those as a kid. Ninja Turtles, X-Men, Batman, which Batman was always kind of dark, but the Christmas specials were always kind of a little bit more uplifting than what the cartoon really was.
Yeah, in the 90s, yeah. I mean, that's because I know you're a bit older. But I remember watching those. I again, the problem that I have nowadays is that they don't make the writers are just terrible, and then they try destroying everything, thinking that they're going to make it better. You have to learn the rules first to know where you can break them. And Scrooge knew exactly where to do that. The whole beginning part, which actually is my favorite scene, is when Lee Majors comes in and they have the explosions and everything. That's great. I that was one of the things that really said I got to watch this film. But they didn't lose the heart of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Story. It still has the heart. Even if it is really so messed up.
Yeah, the movie is trying to make a point, and it does it with flying colors.
And it doesn't lose the heart of the whole book. You still get it, even though the beginning is so much more demented and dark than anything else. And I think that's part of the thing that you see nowadays is these people are soulless.
It just goes demented and stays there till the very end.
Yes,
and then looks at you sideways when you don't, give it a standing ovation.
There was even an X-Files episode, now that I'm thinking about it, where it was like on Christmas, and even for being an X-Files episode, it even had somewhat of a happy ending Christmas-related wise. I mean, from I don't want to say 2000, I want to say from maybe upper 90s to now, it's just things have just kind of gone sideways in certain places. But I think it's Mark's turn to pick out the next one.
Yeah, I think so, but I won't be able to be here next.
Oh no! We're doing Christmas movies until the mid of. I want everybody to have at least have a pick. So January, at least until somewhere in January, because really Christmas doesn't end until
the Orthodox December, January 7th or so for the Orthodox.
Oh yeah, it depends on your household. When the tree goes down, Christmas is over. Dad, it's April.
Well, I had one that lasted until it died. From in July. I forgot to water it. Anyway, sorry about that.
So, what are you thinking for your pick?
We're doing Christmas movies.
Yeah, we could do whatever Christmas movies you want. Granted, mine and probably Shadows are going to be a little bit more, I don't want to say raunchy, but a little bit more on the nose than.
Well, this was my pick.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So.
I have to think about that.
Well,
I'll get back to you. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to think.
I mean, as much as it is, and I still feel, I still enjoy Elf. I enjoy A Christmas Story.
Oh.
I know, but if you want to talk about feel good movies, there are plenty of feel good.
Well, he can make whatever kind of Christmas movie he wants.
Oh yeah.
The idea, though, it has to be Christmas related.
Okay.
That was Rosebud. Citizen Kane.
That was just your Christmas present from the rest of us. That's what that was.
No, it was good that Jackie got to see that.
Yeah.
It was better. It's better. Citizen Kane was better than what I remembered it being. Now, seeing as an adult versus seeing as a teenager.
That's the whole point, isn't it? Sometimes, we've got, people from a whole bunch of different age categories here. And with Jackie, being at the low end of the youth spectrum, we're going to show him things that, he will be the only kid out there who knows what we're talking about. When this year, is up, or when he leaves high school or something like that, he's going to walk away with knowledge of things that the people above him are going to know about and talk about, and he'll be able to follow along. And everybody in his age category is going to be like, huh? Or, holding up their freaking phone, not even paying attention. And he'll have had the exposure to see things like this.
Mark, we'll just get back to you, I guess. And
I'm trying to. I'm looking on my screen to see if something sparks my interest. Batman 2 is considered Batman Return.
I enjoyed that
to be a Christmas. It falls on Christmas movie list
with Mr. Freeze and
Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito.
Oh,
Michael
I've
Keaton.
never heard of that.
Am I the only one that enjoyed that? Because apparently I'm the only one that ever enjoyed that one, which was the second of the.
It wasn't that. Well, I mean, it was really a creepy version of the Penguin, but I absolutely despise Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman.
Well, the Penguin was creepy to begin with.
But that was a whole new level. That went from creepy to nightmarish.
Well, can I say something? I was in the military and I got none of the trailers and everything else they showed, and so I went to that one cold, which is why I probably really enjoyed it because a lot of these movies, the trailers keep coming up over and over and over again. I get burned out before I even see the movie.
I don't know. There's certain movies out there. They're really quick. Was Batman Returns your pick, Mark, or was that just some?
I'm just thinking about it, but yeah, we could let's do that one in 2 weeks. Why not? Let's do a superhero one that falls within the winter time category.
Like Christopher Walken, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, Michael Keane's, a young God, I can't think of his name, but he's in everything. He's the guy that you put up in weird makeup and he's able to make it work. He was one of the clowns. I can't think. He was in the Hellboy. He was Abe. I can't think of his name though.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. No.
Let's try Batman Returns in 2 weeks, and then we can do about the whole. I guess we could talk about the whole style, because like when a Tim Burton movie, it's a Tim Burton movie. He's kind of got like a certain
Tim
style.
Burton has famously said he doesn't read comic book movies.
Okay.
Well, he may. Yeah, I really enjoyed. I was apparently the only person that did enjoy it, but that's just because I was.
Oh, I love that movie as a kid.
Yeah. Well,
when it comes to Batman films, they really should have stopped after Batman Returns, so we didn't get Batman with nipples. But that's just my thought on the matter.
Well, I what gets me about the whole thing was I enjoyed the. I actually enjoyed the newest Batman as well, to be honest.
Oh, with Robert Pattinson.
I watched it and I was kind of surprised.
My only complaint about that movie was all the fucking Nirvana music.
Yeah, well, Christopher Nolan's stuff is to me the best of the serious Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Ben Affleck Batman. I thought he made a good older Batman. But yeah, I agree.
What I would love to see is, if we're going to talk about this in cartoons, why in the world they don't do a Batman Beyond
movie?
Yes, where you have an old Bruce Wayne. You can
they were going to, and Michael Keaton's was going to be Old Man Bat, and they're going to have a young Batman. But fucking James Gunn, or what his freaking name is, has moved into his new DC studio offices. Nope, we're doing everything the way I want to.
Yeah, you know what? That's. I thought it was going to go in a whole different direction. Now he's at the helm, and he's like nuking everything, even the good things about the DC universe. And I don't.
No, that's why they hired him.
I wonder.
That's why they hired him.
Conspiracy with he's like a double agent for Marvel still, and he's trying to sabotage.
Well, it's probably not actually him, or maybe it is. But if you think about it, the whole concept of superheroes and vigilantism is soon going to be verboten. The concept is absolutely terrifying the people at the top on a minute-by-minute basis.
So here's what I'm hearing, because I listened to some of them. Zaslav apparently is the one that did it, and he looked over at Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, and everything, and said they're too expensive. Zaslav's been killing everything.
That's the new CEO guy or whatever, right?
Of Warner.
Warner, yeah, I know he's scrapping a lot of things.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because
they're
going to be focused. I mean, yes, it would have been nice to see. To be honest, it's not that Superman is my favorite, but the Henry Cavill, I liked him as Superman.
He's been the best one since Christopher Reeve.
Well, I like him better than Christopher Reeve, to be honest. But that's just because some movies are product.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
But my whole thing on this is, they're talking about Avatar. Even if it makes $1 billion, it's going to lose money. Wakanda apparently lost money. The era of the giant blockbuster is going to disappear for a while, just because they can't afford it. And they've been doing this excess, and let's be honest, they killed their properties. And I enjoy listening to Heels versus Babyface talk about this. What are you going to do when you kill all your products? You killed Lord of the Rings. You've killed Marvel at the moment. You've now killed DC. Well, not as much, but you've somewhat killed DC because you can't get anything off the ground. What do you have left? I mean, look at all of the stuff. You killed Star Wars. No one wants to watch Star Wars for the most part.
There's a couple. Star Wars got hope if they would interject. I think if they let Favreau and that Filoni guy, if they would let them do their
I was
thing.
about to say.
I think Filoni understands Star Wars even as well as, or maybe better than George Lucas even. But I don't know.
Well, here's the problem that you have with it is they have to get rid of the meddling and stuff. But like, I've heard good things about Andor. Not that I've watched it.
So I haven't watched it either, but I've heard good things.
I've heard good things about that. But that one. But you killed everything else in there. And I looking at it, not that it was always my favorites, but I did enjoy the originals. And then when they came out again, what was it, in the 1990s? I remember them coming out in the 1990s. They blew away everything else that, we're talking movies that are over 20 years old are blowing away modern movies in the late 90s when they were released. And then I enjoyed the Clone Wars. I did not, and I'm talking about the cartoon.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I did not enjoy the prequels that very much. But then when they came back and I was like Force Awakens, I looked at that, I was like, Rogue Trader was, it wasn't bad. But then they destroyed everything with the whole Ryan Johnson. I mean, you've destroyed your franchise. I don't know how Jack feels about it, but basically, his age group is not going to have the things that they did. I mean, what do you have left? You have Harry Potter. That's about the only franchise.
Harry Potter is basically dead in the water, and because the author, right or wrong for her opinion, I am not stepping on that line, on that landmine, has basically painted the water so damn bad that there's nothing else they can do with it.
No. Here's the thing: is she has.
You mean nothing else they will do with it?
Yeah. Well, Twitter's already done that, but I think that she still holds the rights to it. And
oh yeah.
So what do you have left? I mean, that's the whole thing. Is you have Harry Potter, but then they did the Grimm or whatever they did, kind of like that weird spin-off thing, right? So
they weren't bad. They weren't great, but they weren't bad.
But you can't get stuff that's meh. You got to have diehard people going through it. And what are you going to do? As much as I love Alien, man, it's just like Predator. I'm like, oh, how are you going to ruin it this time? Which sounds terrible. The one that did sound great to me is the one which what was Neil Blomkamp which they killed. He was supposed to do Alien 5 with Sigourney Weaver, and they were kind of going to ignore Alien 3 and just pretend that they were going to bring back Michael Biehn.
Was it?
Hold up, guys. Hello, Kai Hungar. Good to see you here.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I don't watch it because I'm not going to pay for Disney. That's what it really comes
Hey,
down to.
no, what's happening, buddy?
But the problem that you have with Andor is it's not one of those that's going to bring tons of fans. It's going to be people who enjoy it. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to have Babylon 5, which is the only thing that they haven't quite ruined yet.
It was. I mean, Andor. The bits and pieces I've seen of it is meant for the older fans.
It is, yeah. Well, but who are you going to get if you turn off your old fans? And let's be honest, the new fans aren't there. As much as they pretend that we're going for these new fans, I think we're going to get fans more like Jack or my son, who enjoys watching these old films from the 80s, 60s, and 70s. I mean, my son enjoyed Dr. Strangelove, and my son is not a serious person. He wants to watch comedies all the time. It's worth parting. Yeah.
I mean,
I wish to learn how to do that soon. Like,
do you think they're maybe approaching movies the wrong way, and maybe they should go back to like the old way the old serials were? Because think about how like even my daughter, she can barely sit through a movie. She's up moving. Do you think they need to do maybe these little 20-minute vignettes of a property and do it that way instead of I don't know.
I'm going to go through this, but it's I'm not saying it's disagreement, but you need a good series that sucks people in. Like I said, Babylon 5, while it didn't do that great on network TV, and I think it was, if Babylon 5 had come out 10 years later when you had streaming and DVDs, I think it would have done far better. But I think Babylon 5 was kind of caught in that weird position.
The movies that seem to do the best are the ones that they storyboard out. That's how they did most of the Marvel first and second phases, which everybody, not everybody enjoyed, but they were the more popular ones compared to this last season, where it's just like a bunch of fillers. It feels like. And if DC would have did the same thing, well, with Jason Momoa being Aquaman, I enjoy him as an actor. I enjoy him as a person. I think he's funnier than hell. He has one more Aquaman. The one more Aquaman movie is coming out than that he's done with that. And how I'm hearing it is that will be the last time he'll play Aquaman. But DC Comics is not done with him because he's supposed to be coming back as Lobo.
I could see
Jason Momoa as Lobo. Holy crap! That's almost a match made in heaven.
Well, here's what I think is coming down to is there's going to be a reckoning with this ESG crap, and it's starting to come where they were flush with cash, and they're starting to realize now that you have to have things that are universal in their own sell. And I'm not going to knock this, but you've turned off the people here in the United States. A lot of people don't want to watch this stuff. Avatar, which actually I hear is family friendly for the most part.
Which one?
Officially, what's that?
What one did you say was family friendly?
Avatar 2.
I think they're all supposed to be family friendly.
No. What I mean is that it promotes family is what I'm trying to say.
Because he's trying to save his yeah. I get what you're saying.
I'm saying it's much more of a typical your typical family friendly movie rather than trying to deconstruct the family. That's what I'm referring to. And the problem that we have with these people is they just Hollywood, when we can see it even in our role playing games. Look at D&D. They're not trying to make a good product. They keep talking about monetization. You can only monetize a good product. If you monetize a crap product, it's not going to do as well. And I don't know how you all feel about it, but not that I'm a 5e fan, but I've been noticing a lot of these creators that are kind of getting funded. They're not too happy with where D&D is going. And I said, you're going to lose. To be fair, this always happens. You're going to fracture the fan base. But who are the new people that you're going to bring in? Especially now that you have other things where people. To me, it's going to be great because it means that we're going to have a lot of other people looking out at the old games. But OSR really seems to be doing better nowadays than it was when we were kids. I mean, it sounds funny, but it seems like more people want to do OSR stuff.
Well, anytime. And I was saying this last night before I had to disappear back to work.
Yeah.
Anytime that you have a game out there, even if it's paper and pencil, like, a lot of these RPGs used to be, and that's awesome. I use tools. Bruce is not thrilled with it, but I use Hero Labs so I can keep my numbers straight and everything else. I use it as a tool. But the moment D&D, Pathfinder, whatever, Mutant Chronicles, I seriously doubt will ever go that way. But as soon as any of these RPGs go to pay to win scenario, loot boxes, it is going to just, it's the Titanic. It is going to be the iceberg to a lot of these RPG games. Forget all the different races and all the different classes. The moment you have to start paying to beat the Goblin King for the 15th time, people are going to say, no, not even 15 times. The second time, people are going to fuck this, I'm out.
Well, and for tools, I don't.
Well, they don't want people playing pen and paper games. They want you hooked up to an electronic device that can track your every movement and that they can, use as a sledgehammer or sword of Damocles over your head if you don't toe the line, a la the social credit score. They will terminate whatever it is they think you value most.
I'm gonna also put it this way: when you buy a book, that's only one sale, which means that they have to produce more products that are good. And that's I don't really care. Update an edition, change the rules. That's fine. It doesn't bother me that much. There are great RPGs all out there, but at the end of the day, you have to have good quality stuff. And I don't mind paying a monthly fee if I feel like I'm getting a good value on it. Like I know we all talk about, hey, StreamYard or something like that. Well, if I feel like I'm getting a good product, that's okay. But if I'm not going to do it. And if you buy the core 3 books for D&D for 5e, you're pretty much done. You don't have to buy anything else. And that's the Dungeon Master. The players may only have to buy one, depending on how much you want to share.
I kind of disagree with that because you kind of need Tasha's to get straighten out Ranger because Ranger out of the core sucks.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I mean, you don't.
Yeah, but buying an entire book for a couple
Tasha
of
has
pages.
A lot of other stuff that's kind of interesting, in my opinion. But they should have bet when it came to the Ranger and fifth edition out of the core.
Right, but what's wrong with making a core set of books that is all you need?
There's nothing wrong with that. As gamers, there's nothing wrong with that. As a company, you are shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, here's the thing. Quality matters. My friend who loves 5e, and I know we're switching over for now, but he loves 5e, and he he even admits Tasha's is kind of a crapshoot. If you look at
I know, Multi.
yeah, Volo's guide is much better, but the thing is, yeah, it's all you need. And most places only need one, and if we're going to be talking about this, a lot of the books need one or two. Well, that's what they're afraid of. You're going to buy the game, you're going to play it a bit. The old Basic, which I found was funny, Basic and Expert sold better than Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, despite what everyone realizes that when you look at the number of units sold, the Basic and Expert sold a lot more. And yet you only need those two books to basically run about, unless you're talking about like Shadow had done, multi-year real life games.
Right.
They did fantastic. And I know that's probably why Mark and I got the OSE versions. And look what Gavin did is he said, you know what, I'm going to kind of do a mishmash and I'm going to do advanced fantasy. And he went, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's yeah. You know what?
I spent my wad when it comes to money on Pathfinder First Edition books. That was the edition I bought in hard. I didn't get all the books, but I got all the bestiality books and some of the help class building. I will probably never buy another edition of anything as heavy ever again. I can't say never again, but it's going to be a while because Pathfinder to me really where it was at. It was not my first love. It went from my grade school love being 3.5 to my high school love being Pathfinder. If that makes any sense.
No, but that's the whole thing when you look at 5e. 5e is really being propped up right now for quality by the third party Kickstarter stuff. And I know it's not doing as well. And apparently, looking at Nerd Immersion talk about stuff, they're going to be cracking down on that because they want all that money. And I went, well, you better be sharing that money with these guys because I'll tell you this much. It looks fun. It's completely silly. Go look at the Kickstarter called Silver Plate for 5e, where you get to play. What it reminds me of is Aqua Teen Hunger Force. You get to play like a burger or corn. Well, I know, Shadow, but if sometimes I want to play a game that's completely tongue-in-cheek and silly.
Well, we kind of just got done playing a game was completely
I played, dude. I get that.
Yeah. But I mean, when I buy it, I don't want to buy everything. And when you get some of these things, oh, okay, I have my core books. Let me go get this one. Okay, that's interesting. Let me go buy this one. And they're doing limited print runs. And then if you want to do it, you do print on demand. I think that's the. But boy, when you hear the monetization, look what's happening with the Magic the Gathering. As much as people talk about D&D, D&D is maybe 5 to 10% of WotC's income. Out of that $1 billion, it's maybe 5 or 10%. And most of that money actually is coming from licensing, which I thought was interesting because when they lost the license, they lost a huge chunk of their revenue. Yeah, I know, Chimerian. When I say I'm a collector, it's like I feel like a Pokemon. I got to have them all. And I go, what? That's the for the bucks. And I'm starting going, you know what? But when the quality starts going down, you start losing people like myself. And then the players who are not that invested don't want to do it either. And what you really want is you want players really invested. And that's one of the reasons that I mentioned, like this book, which is a third-party book. And yet this is doing better than just about everything besides your core books and D&D. And this is third party. And to be fair, it's also $20. I mean, that's a pretty good deal when you look at it. If you're going to be playing 5e, get that book. Don't get all these others. Yeah, that's the thing that comes down to it but that's the ability. Instead of saying, hey, we know that you can use your book so much you can tear it apart and you're going to buy a new one. They're kind of the opinion of, well, no, we're going to make sure you pay $5 or $10. And this pay to play, I mean, could you imagine, like, we're only going to give you 4 core races and you have to pay $4 every time you want a new race, a new character class or a new race? And
it doesn't even make sense.
I
mean, I guess if it's online, but then people just won't be playing online.
Well, here's the thing, though. It does work. It does make sense for online. If you look at video games, people would spend $20 for an extra DLC to get characters or whatever, extra maps or whatever that wasn't an original game, the release game. So you use that concept with Dungeons Dragons or whatever your RPG digital game is. That makes perfect sense. Is it the right thing to do? Hell no. But does it make sense? Yes.
Well, I understand from a commoditization. I don't mind that like if you make good products, I want you to succeed. I really do. And 2E had the problem of massive bloat, and the quality went way down because they just flooded the system with all their handbooks and stuff. But it's not that Hasbro doesn't have these wonderful things, but to me, Hasbro would be better off to license D&D to third parties like Kobold Press.
But then they couldn't control it, and that's what it's all about. They want to be able to control.
They can still control it to a certain degree. They can say, no, we're not going to produce this.
Yeah, you say it has to be reviewed. And the reason I mention that is because I know that, what is it, Paradox Entertainment or whatever, has to review everything within their, and so does Games Workshop. They have to review whatever comes out of the publishers when they get the license. And then they can change that. But why in the world am I going to hire a sensitivity consultant, writers, editors, designers, and all these other people for D&D, which I understand why they're doing it now because they bought D&D Beyond. But they could have just licensed it off. And guess what? They could fire all those people, and if something that became problematic, all WotC would have to say is, we found that this was problematic. We have talked to the publisher, and it will be corrected in future editions. That's all that they have to say. Self-flagellation. Oh, we're so sorry. We'll be better. We'll hire more sensitivity consultants. Why are there more sensitivity consultants than designers? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Because they're not in my opinion, they're not interested in making good product. They're more interested in gearing you away from a product and onto a product they also sell.
I mean, not to be, and I'm really not trying to be with this comment, but not to be an ass with this comment, but wasn't that all what the 80s was? Buy more shit?
You know what? As much as people say that, I don't know how Mark felt about it, but as much as everyone says buy more shit, that went on with my grandparents in the 50s with Keeping Up with the Joneses.
Right. I just remember watching videos from the 80s, what the 80s was really like. It was the era of America's success. The more shit you had in garage, the better you were doing at your job.
You know what, though? That was also a time when people's wages were going up. You have to remember things were from the 70s, we're talking about. But I don't remember a lot of this issues that, as much as they talk about it, yes, that's what the television was showing you. But the actual home stuff, I don't remember so much of that. Oh, I wanted my Sectors. I wanted my Transformers. Yes, okay, I got pushed this by the cartoons. That said, I still enjoyed the toys.
Cartoons being 30-minute commercials.
Yeah.
Or 45 if you're lucky.
It's funny, but when you look at it, it's like my son, what did he want for 1 year? I forgot how old he was. He said, I want the Smurfs. Well, the Smurfs are really cheap now. You can buy them for all over the place. And so his mother got this huge collection from eBay.
Other than the Smurf movies that came out a few years ago, I haven't been able to find any Smurfs from like growing up. That version.
Oh, the 1980s. That DVD. What gets me about it is the Gargoyles, which is a fantastic cartoon for the first 2 seasons. Look at what they did. Is they pulled stuff from Shakespeare and all these other things. They had great voice actors.
Oh yeah. Well, most of Star Trek Next Generation, but that's besides the point.
Well, they had John Rhys Davies. They had, they had a lot of different ones. Keith David, I still love, for Keith David doing things. But yeah, you're right. There was an over bombasticness. But to be fair, we were winning the Cold War. We felt good about ourselves. Our economy was booming. And that really went up into the 90s. And it wasn't until, the 2000s where our, somewhat political, our politicians made sure that we deindustrialized. That's once we deindustrialized, then what do we have? And now we have the self-flagellation, cry babies. They might have misgendered me. No, you idiot. You know what your pronouns are? It's I and me. Those are your personal pronouns. And if you don't know that, then you need to go back to school and learn goddamn English. If you don't know your English, don't tell me what I have to call you, okay?
I'm waiting for Max to show up on the chat saying, "Damn right."
It's
But
He's not wrong.
Sorry, yeah, I know, but I don't want to get it into that too much. But for D&D, I thought that for first edition, we'll talk first edition. The modules were really hit and miss, but I thought that the Dungeoneer's Wilderness Explorer's Guide was a good thing. I thought that the Wilderness Survival Guide was a good thing. Now, it overcomplicated the game a lot of times, but I thought that they did add something cool. What was the other one that was out there? Dragonlance, I thought.
To be honest, the only thing the survival guides added was the proficiencies, which was almost identical to the skill system in Rule Cyclopedia.
No, actually,
it was just more. It was more. It's easier to find in Rule Cyclopedia because you don't have to check two different books. But it's basically, you roll under your stat, and you might get a bonus, right?
Well, Shadow, the reason I liked it had nothing to do with proficiencies. Proficiencies was
Right.
like 5 or 10 pages. It was all the other stuff of cold, and it was the environmental effects that went in there,
Right, which were all essentially optional rules, or at least ways of, if you want to get into the nitty gritty of weather, then these are, this is how we would do it.
Well, but I meant is I felt that they were still quality products because of that. Now,
Oh, yeah.
If you're not interested in it, you just don't get them. And then Oriental Adventures, I thought was a
Love
fantastic.
that. That was. They should have ran with that and just kept on going with that book. That book was phenomenal.
Speaking
For
its time, they should have just ran with that.
And Max loves Dragonlance. Greyhawk. I thought the box set was much better than the book. But yeah, anyway. Go ahead. Sorry, Connell.
I want to know, for those who are not aware, Mark here hosted me and this crew 2 Fridays in a row. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch the first one. A Christmas special using old school basics. My question was how the hell did you stumble across that module?
Well, I found it several years ago. It's free. I put it in our Discord chat, but it's free. It's called a very scary Xmas MOS.
Yeah.
And it's free on Drive-Thru-RPG, and it's really a module that was made for swords and wizardry. But if you know anything about swords and wizardry versus BX, they're fairly interchangeable. Swords and wizardry doesn't have I don't think it has rules for morale, and traditional swords and wizardry only uses a one for the death saves, just the one score, but other than that, it's fairly interchangeable. All the monster stats and that are fairly. That's all I did was just swap them out. I mean, but it's.
Oh, I
that's
got
all
a
it
hold
is.
of the book. I got a hold of the module. I plan on running it for my kids.
Okay.
The only rub I'm having is I'm gonna have to 5e it because my oldest, Laszlo, he is very much Aspergian and he knows 5e, and trying to get him to play anything new or old as the case may be.
I did it for 5. I ran it the first time I ran it. I think I did it at 5e, and I just pretty much swapped it out verbatim. I mean, just swap the monsters out.
Yeah. That's what I've had to do with Pathfinder, Rise of the Rune Lord when I run it through 5e. You're just changing things out, but it's not a big deal. And I just want to say thanks for having us running it for us. I really enjoyed it. I can only speak for myself on that one. And now I have a new weird Christmas RPG that I get to throw at people for shits and giggles.
And Mark,
all right, glad you liked it.
I'm glad. There are some things I wish that they had in there that you did on the fly, which I know they do in their DCC, and that's. That was fun when Connell just said, "Can I do this?" And you're like, "Yeah, you can do that." So, but sometimes I wish they would codify some of those things because it encourages people to put them in their games.
Hey, anytime I can reenact risky business, I'm all about it.
Oh yeah, well that was fun. Well, the whole thing was so tongue in cheek, and what amazed me is, I think if we had all been second level, we would have still made it through.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because just the amount of damage we took. But that said, is boy, it can get ugly really fast if you aren't rolling.
Yeah, if it starts swinging the other way at all, then
Oh, that pine tree! Those pine trees could have killed all of us with those needle
maybe.
attacks that we can't.
You missed Sandy Claus. Sandy Claus was pretty terrifying for us.
It sounded like the elves were the biggest threat of the module.
No, I was more afraid of the spider.
They were afraid of the poison, but he was a weaker spider. If you would have had you made your poison death save, you would have gotten a plus. The poison was weaker. You would have gotten a +2 on your save versus the poison
Right,
from
but
that spider. But
if you fail to save, you die.
yeah.
Well, and we took it out really well. That helped.
Hey, I get to catch things on fire, you know.
But yeah, I just like, I've ran it a few times for a few different people, and it's something I found for free, and it's just filled with bad dad jokes, and I just loved it. I don't know.
Well, and we knew it was going to be filled with bad dad jokes, so we had to do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, I wish that I could do better puns in that case. You know, on the fly.
Yeah, it's just like a real little simple, like 10-room dungeon crawl is what it is.
Well, we got 5 minutes of the show. In 2 weeks, we'll come back to the review, and we'll be reviewing the 1992 Batman Returns, the last good Batman with Michael Keaton.
That was the only one that he only did 2.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Anyways,
and the same thing for Tim Burton.
We'll get back to that. So we'll be talking about that here in 2 weeks. I look forward to seeing all you guys in chat next Sunday. Though, for all those who are in the panel, my Christmas day is basically me sitting around the house, drinking eggnog and wishing I had enough bourbon to put in it. So I'm going to go ahead and go do a show. For those who have plans with their family, you're not required to be with them. You can come hang out with me. I mean, sorry, I did that backwards. Go hang out with them. I think next week's topics is just Christmas movies. I mean, we're not going to review any certain ones. Just we're going to talk about good ones. We're going to talk about bad ones and ones where we're like, what the hell did I just watch? Is this the Hallmark Channel? Those type of Christmas movies. That's what we're going to be talking about.
And don't forget, we'll meander and wander off topic like we always do. So,
oh, that's a given. Here in a couple of weeks, hopefully, we will get back to the Dresden Files. If I can sweet talk another YouTuber out there that I just met last night that is friends with Shadow, we might have an extra guest. Other than that, I hope everybody has a great Christmas.
Gamer Stan's a good guy. Go check out his channel if you haven't already. He's got a good channel.
But with that being said, I want everybody out there to have a good Christmas. I don't want you to have a great Christmas because that puts pressure on everybody else. I want you to have a good Christmas. I want you to hang out with those that you love, or those that you can barely put up with. But either way, I want you to hang out with your family and friends. With that being said, Merry Christmas, because, fuck you. It's Merry Christmas, not Happy Holidays. And
Happy Holidays is if I'm not going to see you for a month and a half.
Right.
Otherwise, it's Merry Christmas.
It's Merry Christmas. Now, Ominow, I would ask if you got anything going on this coming week, YouTube wise, but I'm pretty sure I'll find you on other people's channels because you're a cheating whore like that. What about you, Mark?
I'm behind. I'm way behind. I got to finish up my stuff on witches. So hopefully I'm off. I got a vacation this week, so I'm off.
Okay.
So hopefully I can get caught up in that, and then I'm gonna get started into some holiday themed. I've got a comic book titled Claus or something. He's like when Santa Claus was a butt kicker, like hunter, fur trapper type guy. So,
Oh.
hopefully be doing that. Rest of December, some holiday theme type media. So, yeah.
Cool.
cool.
Looking forward to it.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I want to see some of your artwork, man.
All right. What about you, Shadow?
You know, the usual father and son gig. I don't know if we're doing a video tonight. I'm trying to manage it, but we've got that meeting, and if it runs late, then we'll see. But the little guy and I are going to be hanging out with Hungar every morning at about 8:30 a.m. avocado time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll have some of the regular videos during the week, craft video, maybe some reviews, stuff like that. If you guys have, seen our channel, and then hopefully we'll round it out with the big 500 sub giveaway not this Monday, but next Monday, where we will be giving away all kinds of goodies. But go check out our giveaway videos to make sure you qualify for that, because we've got some really cool stuff we're giving away.
All right. Well, what do I got
Jack,
going on
anything
this
you want to
week?
add?
Not particularly, no.
Well, I'm not 100% sure what's going on Gatekeepers on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, I'm running that one. I'm running Ancient Ruins using modern Earth Day equivalent information to accentuate your Ancient Ruin encounters. Hopefully we'll have Fritz from GM's Alco guest appearance with us, because he's looking forward to that, and that's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Unless something comes up, I'll definitely be around for that one, because I love the concept of using ancient runes in RPGs.
Ruin, not ruin.
The trees.
Well, rune, whatever. Thursday, I will be doing the last of my one shot on Table Breakers. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If not, well, we'll wait for somebody else to run next time.
Who is running next time?
It's either Baron or Bruce. I have no idea. But other than that, I'll be doing my last of the Christmas special on Table Breakers, where the party will be dealing with what's going on with the missing children. And this coming Sunday, me and I believe Omanau have talked about doing it. And whoever else on the panel or whoever else watches, if they want to jump in, we'll talk about Christmas movies and just the good, the bad, and I think don't eat yellow snow or brown snow.
If it's not white, don't eat it. It's for your own safety.
Pretty much, yeah.
With that being said, like I said, Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you all have a fun Christmas. Don't worry, if you get socks for Christmas, it's still a good thing. You're going to appreciate them when you get older.
As I get older, and this is the funny part, I'm like, Mom, Dad, can you get me socks and underwear? I'm like, oh, cool, I got what I wanted for Christmas.
I know. Shadow wants more gaming books in his life.
Yeah, but
that he doesn't have to pay for.
But see, I buy those before anyone can, so I don't want them to buy stuff because I might get duplicates, and I don't like duplicates for me.
Yeah. Well,
everything on my Christmas list, I'll take care of myself. I'm good.
So you're saying is that you don't want us to buy you anything?
I didn't say that at all.
That's why I
said I said on my list.
That's it's on YouTube now, Jack. I'm right there with you. That's what I heard.
You know what I heard is we have to make food for Dad because he doesn't want anything. He'll get his own gifts, but we have to make a special meal so he doesn't have to do anything.
Oh no! I don't eat anything I don't normally cook. There's a couple exceptions, like tacos that are waiting on my table right now.
Oh, well, we're going to shut. Well, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to hit the little red button up here, and you go eat your tacos.
Yeah. Are you going to be there for the meeting?
Unless I get a call telling me to come into work, yeah. Which would be awkward because I'm the
like
boss.
45 minutes away. That's like 45 minutes away.
Yeah. All right. Thank everybody in the panel. Mark, you just stop talking so much. Jeez, I mean, you just out talk all of us. With that being said, everybody have a good night.
Night, everyone.
God bless everybody.